Are you training hard, hitting your protein goals, and still not seeing gains? The truth is, what you eat matters, but how much you eat matters so much more. So many guys I've worked with came to me thinking that they were eating enough when in reality they were unknowingly sabotaging their muscle growth by undereating. In this video, we're gonna show you exactly how to fix this, and we're gonna do it using my two-step idiot-proof method. Look, I know this is kind of lame, but if you find value in this video at any point, please hit that like button, because then this video will stop getting sent to your crush and start getting sent to other guys like you who want to build muscle. First, we gotta talk about why calorie intake is so important. Muscle growth is an endergonic process, which is a fancy way to say that it takes extra energy to build muscle than just the energy for living and exercise and all that good stuff. That means that if you are in a deficit, you are most likely minimizing the amount of muscle that you can build, especially if you have a moderate to low body fat percentage. If your body fat percentage is a little bit higher, then maybe you're just slowing it down. Okay, let's get into this two-step method. Number one, audit your intake. If I had a nickel for every single guy that came to me thinking that they were already eating enough, I would have a shit ton of nickels. And this has to be the first thing that we rule out, because this is much more impactful than a lot of the other smaller things that you might be focusing on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you track your intake utilizing a phone app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer for somewhere between 3 and 7 days. 3 days is better if you have a very consistent schedule where you're eating the same things at the same times and maybe even the same foods. If you have a more variable schedule or you don't typically eat the same foods every single day, then I would say go for more like 7 days, because then we can still get a really clear picture of how much you're consuming every single day. Once you've collected all of this information, you've done it consistently, and you've actually tracked it, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for gaps, meaning times that we're not eating meals or maybe meals that we're missing. And we're gonna look at what meals might be our smallest, which leads us to number two, increase your intake. The first part of this is what we call meal frequency. A lot of guys are not consuming at least 3 meals and 1 snack in the day. Look, there's no physiological rule that says it has to be 3 meals and 1 snack, but from my experience and the hundreds of guys that I've worked with who want to build muscle, having at least 3 meals and 1 snack seems to be a really good formula for actually getting in enough calories. Some guys I work with may even go up to 4 or 5 meals and maybe even 2 or 3 snacks just to be able to get in enough every single day consistently. If you're not consuming at least these 3 meals and 1 snack, then my first advice would be to add something into that slot. A lot of people are not eating breakfast or lunch due to time restrictions with work or just busy things going on in life, and that can easily be solved with some more convenient items that still fit what we want. Some calories, protein, carbohydrates, maybe some fruits or vegetables in there as well. If you look at your meal frequency and you're consuming enough meals and snacks, the next thing that I would go to is looking for those smaller meals or smaller snacks and starting to add something to them. The first thing that people ask me is, what should I add to these meals? Most likely, it's just more of what you're already eating. If your meals are missing a major macronutrient or food group, such as proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vegetables, fruits, then maybe we want to start with adding those back in. Otherwise, you can just consume more of what you're already consuming. For example, maybe you have a small little portion of potatoes for dinner. Well, then you can eat more potatoes. Or maybe your protein shake after your workout is just a protein shake. Well, maybe we want to add some carbohydrates or some fruit to that as well to get more calories in at that time. Because I'm a nice guy, I'm gonna give you a bonus tip that we essentially have to talk about, or else this process is gonna be really difficult. And that's auditing your fullness and your bowel movements. Let's start with fullness. Fullness is important because if you're too full, it's gonna be really hard to consume enough calories throughout the day. Fullness is mostly changed by 2 things. Number 1 is protein, number 2 is fiber. protein and fiber are really, really filling. So if we're over consuming protein, which a lot of guys in this process tend to do that, or we're consuming a lot of fiber, which I guarantee most of you are not doing that, you may be getting too full and thus making it hard for you to consume enough. On the other hand, we need to audit our bowel movements. If things aren't getting out, then it's really hard to be hungry enough to put more things in. Making sure that you're getting adequate fiber so that you have good, high quality bowel movements at a good frequency, meaning at least every day. Then we know that we're getting enough out so we can put more calories in and make sure you're getting enough. Look, this two-step process is stupid easy, and I know that this is gonna be something that could really help you, or at least rule out the fact that you're eating enough. But it's not the only thing that matters when it comes to building muscle. So what I need you to do is watch this video in the Build Muscle playlist so that you can see if there's anything else you can do in order to maximize your muscle growth. And I'll see you there.